Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and one of the biggest incidents that's happened this week here in the online fitness community involves Jason Genova. And I want to state up front, because his army will be in here shortly, who now call themselves pisstroopers, that I'm not making this video to make fun of Jason. I'm just trying to do the right thing and do right by Jason. I'm one of the only people in this community who has ever tried to do right by the guy and actually defend him without exploiting him in any way. So when I use the word mental retardation, I'm not talking about when we make fun of someone and say, oh, you're retarded, like we say about Boston Lloyd and Jerry Ward when they spew really stupid things out. I'm talking about the actual legal term, what would stand in a courtroom or a caseworker's files or something like that. The actual term mental retardation has a legal and clinical meaning. Jason Genova is, for all purposes, legally mentally retarded. He has the mind of a little child. And a lot of people say things like, oh, we're just trying to teach him a lesson. He's a bad person. He needs to learn a lesson. He acts like an asshole all the time. And the reality is, he can't help himself. Anyone who's ever been around a 4 or 5-year-old little child for any period of time, do you notice how they can be assholes no matter what you do? Just like you guys have seen Jason Genova when he goes back and forth with me. Like, I've tried to defend him in the past, is always kind to him, and then he calls an Order 66 on me because he thinks it's funny, he'll get publicity. Then I tell him he did bad and he should really apologize, and he makes a heartfelt apology to me in a video, and then the next week he's saying that he hates me again. You notice a little child does the exact same thing. They love you and they're happy with you, then they tell you that they hate you and maybe throw something at you, and they throw a temper tantrum. If you notice that a child doesn't understand that other things belong to people, that there are consequences to their actions, they'll grab something and decide it's theirs. Just like you guys saw, Jason got involved with people who, in yet another business deal he was financially taken advantage of. They exploited people, sold a bunch of shirts or something. He kept the money. He doesn't want to give any of the money back that he got from it. They kept money and didn't send any shirts out. He doesn't understand the consequences of his actions. Just like a little child, oh, they got $5, they get money. He likes money. Money's nice. He can buy stuff with it. He doesn't understand the consequences of his actions. He's still in that phase of egocentrism that doesn't develop in humans till around age 7, because he has the emotional or mental age of around 5 if you observe him. He doesn't understand that that actually hurt other people, that that was stealing from other people and that it's bad. He doesn't understand right from wrong. And people need to understand that you can't teach him a lesson. You guys saw that I tried to teach him a lesson and he said he was sorry and everything was okay for a week. Well, that's just like a little child. They learn a little lesson and then they always push the limits and they act up again later. Except that in this case, you have a 30-year-old grown man who still has the mind of a 5-year-old child, and he will never learn. He will never grow beyond that. He will be there for the rest of his life. You can't really teach him a lesson that lasts longer than a few days to a week. He'll forget the lesson after that. That's why he makes the same mistakes over and over and over again. And a lot of people think it's funny to follow that, and they like to exploit it. And it's a source of comedy, and I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, you need to understand that you are dealing with someone who is mentally retarded, who cannot help themselves. He's not going to learn the lessons that people were trying to teach him, and he's going to behave like an asshole on a whim when he gets emotional, and he just feels the whim to do it because he doesn't understand that it actually hurts other people. So when you put it in that context, we now have a situation to where Jason has been sexually exploited online. There's some controversy as to whether he was fully catfished or he just exposed himself, but the thing is, he was lured into exposing himself and masturbating on a webcam for a supposed teenage girl that appears to have actually been guys just tricking him and catfishing him. Well, here's the thing. They did that to someone who has a classification of being mentally retarded. In most of the United States and in a lot of first world countries, that's actually a felony. If the FBI finds out who did this, and it'll be easy enough for them to find out, he's kind of a public figure on the internet. That generally carries the same level of offense as if you did that to a little 5 or 6-year-old child and convinced them to expose themselves on the internet and kept the video and the photos of their genitalia. They could get really serious prison time for that, and the FBI will be capable of tracking it. That is sexual exploitation of someone who's mentally retarded. That is a really, really serious offense. And here's where it goes even worse. You guys know how most of you, if you have kiddie porn on your computer knowingly, and it's found in your temporary files, the same thing applies to sexually exploited, mentally handicapped people. So anyone who has a copy of that video, who shared that video, that it's maybe saved in your cache or your temporary internet files, if the FBI tracks your IP to one of the people who got a copy of it, and they find it on your computer, you could actually serve prison time for it. That's how serious what happened is. That's really serious stuff. Everyone who has a copy of that video, if they do not delete them and they get caught with them, could, in a worst case scenario, actually go to federal prison for that if the FBI investigates it and finds it. That's not a game, guys. Again, we're talking about the sexual exploitation of someone who's mentally handicapped. My next question becomes, at this point, we know he has a mother who loves him and he talks about it and everything. She may have even been on his channel at one time. At this point, someone needs to contact his mother and let her know that her son is being taken advantage of financially. People are taking her mentally handicapped son and making business deals with him where he's being exploited. There have been people who've given him pro-hormones and drugs that are illegal drugs for him to possess and have taken advantage of him that way. And at this point, that her mentally handicapped child has been sexually exploited, and there are videos and photos of his genitalia on the internet as a result of people exploiting him. And she needs to step in and restrict that. And if the courts get involved and the FBI get involved, she might find her son institutionalized and lose any custody and guardianship she has over him because she allowed it to happen. So at this point, if she doesn't step in and do something, and someone really needs to contact his family, if they don't step in and do something, there's a very serious possibility that the courts themselves are going to get involved and they're going to suffer consequences for negligence in allowing their son to draw this stuff out on the internet to the point where it has. This is actually illegal. This is felony level stuff at this point. And if his family isn't willing to step in and do something about the situation, the courts themselves probably need to get involved and restrict his access to the internet at this point, because Jason is being very grossly and criminally exploited, and it's really disgusting. And even though he enjoys all the publicity and everything, just like a little child does, it doesn't make exploiting a mentally retarded person right, and it doesn't make it legal. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.